Good evening, everybody. August 30th, 2021. Let's take a look at Bitcoin here. I had posted earlier that there was potential for this to be a bullish setup if it held this low here basically and progressed upwards sort of in a diagonal manner. But that was not my primary expectation. I was still expecting this to come down into that 46K region to retest again. And so that primary expectation was proven correct, which I always like. So just want to kind of clean this chart up a little bit here. This action here that we got in the US session today, where we just had it pumping upwards through here, this came too high for this to be a true impulse. And so I think what we're dealing with is yet again a diagonal, which should still give us 5 waves down probably in this C. And the way it's going to do that most likely is we draw our channel from the 1 to the 3. And it's just sort of coincidental that the 3 actually hit the ideal region for that 3 there anyway. But and then we put the top of it here to the 2. And so we should see now, again, sort of coincidentally, this region here, wherever this ends up tapping the top of this downward trend line here, we'll probably see a rejection there in 4, and we will come down then finally in 5. And this 5 may end up going deeper than that projection there. I mean, depending on how long it takes, it could go down here into the 45s, even potentially a little bit lower. So we'll see how quickly it ends up getting there. But this would then fulfill very nicely a C wave down. And that's, again, based on this blue fib extension, which I have drawn from the top here, to the A wave, to the B wave, and you can see these blue fib extensions here. That 1.0 extension is ideal for the C wave to equal the A wave, which is the 1.0 extension. So that's at about 45.4, and that seems like a really logical place for this to go based on this diagonal channel as well. So that being said, you know, looks like overnight we're probably going to get just sideways chop, maybe a little bit of pumpy action here until we somewhere hit this downtrend line, and then we get one more drop. Once we get that final drop, we should, that's going to be C, we should in all likelihood be done correcting. The only way that that would not be true is if we're in this red alternate path and we're making a C wave right now, a larger C wave in this red path, which may end up looking like basically a larger diagonal then. And that could happen something like this. Let me turn my magnet off. So here, imagine this would be our 1 down and 2 up within a larger diagonal, and then this would be the 3 in that larger diagonal wherever this ends, and then we get a 4 and then a rejection down for a 5 in the diagonal to go a little bit lower to those lower 40K regions. So that is certainly possible, and what we're going to have to look for is once this ends up playing, once we get the 4 and the 5 played out, from here, if it's going to continue upwards, if the correction is done, we should see 5 full waves up of some description, because each of these corrections really should be 3 waves. So if we see 3 waves like this, then we can expect probably another wave down. So let me see how I can kind of clear this up a little bit and put that on as a potential alternative here. This would be, let me draw this just as a different channel here. So this would be the start, There's 1 and 2, 3. So we would draw from 1 down to 3. Let's say it, drops down somewhere around here, and then 2's there. So basically it would be making a larger choppy diagonal here like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it may actually not go down that far based on where I think this third is going to end, and we might get quite a big sort of pump in the meantime in this wave here. So I think best thing to do is wait for this to play out. Once it does, then I can clarify where this channel would be as the alternative, and then we'll watch from there. I'm going to be buying, like I said, all through these levels here. I'm going to be loading up on Bitcoin in these levels, and I'm prepared to buy a little bit lower, but basically either one of these possibilities looks like we should hold like 44, which again is a little bit odd to me because I was looking at this 46K as being so important, this red line here, but with how choppy this is, it actually would not surprise me for that to chop up and down around 46K for a while as well, to fulfill that. So anyway, there's a couple different possibilities there, but I think at the moment I'm leaning towards wherever this plays out, this 4 and this 5, I'm leaning towards that being the end of the correction, and we should then start our next leg up from there. Let me zoom out just a little bit. Let me get rid of this diagonal here. I just want to look at where that brings us. Okay, so this yellow fib that I have here, that was drawn from the bottom back here where I think this move started up to the very tip top of it. And for a second wave pullback, ideally it comes down to the 382 to the 618, which is this big green box here. But based on this action, we very well may end up more like the 236, which is 44,286. So anywhere in this range that I was looking at, kind of that 44 to 45 range, would just about get to that 236 region. And that is sufficient for a shallow pullback. And we did see a shallow wave 2 pullback at the beginning of this move, all the way back, last year when we came off the COVID dump. We saw a very shallow wave 2 pullback at that time, so it would not be surprising to see a shallow wave 2 pullback here as well, because Elliott wave is fairly fractal and tends to kind of repeat itself as the pattern progresses. So I think that is going to be my primary scenario, is expecting us to hit maybe this 45K range and then that be it. But I'll keep my eyes peeled for any evidence that maybe that is not the case, and maybe we should be looking for like this larger sort of diagonal channel, and maybe we get a nominally lower low then from that as well. So I'm going to put this on in red so I know it's an alternative, and try to keep an eye on that. And then all right, I think that pretty much sums it up. So expect a little bounce overnight and then a dump into this fifth wave, and we'll go from there. All right, good night everybody.